I was thinking about this film, and I was saying that there was someone that I dated at one point that said to me that he had told his son about me that what always feels good to you ain't always good for you.
Mm,
And when I
mm,
watched this film, I felt like that was a theme for Roger, because Roger it seemed to be one of these men that was being indecisive while casting these women in different roles in his world based on what his needs were at the time. And I wanted to get your thoughts about that.
mhm. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's exactly where he is. He's trying to decide, between what he needs and what he wants, and he's a little confused about that. And I think a lot of us, find ourselves in those kinds of positions. Even I'm in my early 40s now, and I'm like, man, I thought by now I would have had all of these things figured out, but you know, uh, relationships are complicated, and they can continue to be complicated despite what age we're at. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to make the movie, is that I think it was an opportunity to look at like adult relationships, and to kind of you know remove some of the mystery around the fact that, like, yeah, we're still allowed to be confused and to be working stuff out, even though we are in our middle ages.
Said in our middle ages, and I and I also felt like like for my generation, this was Love Jones, and I feel like for this generation, this is this generation's Love Jones. That's what it felt like for me. It had that kind of vibe because it dealt with a certain borough in New York, Brooklyn, and Brooklyn was kind of its own character, so to speak, within the confines of the story. But what I really want to talk to you about, honey, is that scene that y'all did with Cassandra, where she talked and she talked and she talked and she talked. How many times did y'all have to shoot that? Because I can't imagine that was a one take situation.
Let me tell you something about Cassandra Freeman. Cassandra Freeman. So we went to college together. We know each other since we were 17 years old. And
Oh,
Cassandra Freeman is so brilliant. She's so funny, so charming. Basically, what we did was we just gave her, a couple of lines. We're like, okay, this is what the scene's about. This is kind of what we think she's talking about. I said, just do your thing. She was like, really? I said, yeah. Most of that stuff is just her improvising. And we have so much footage of her. It was so hard to decide what to leave in and what to take out, because, there was just so much to choose from. But yeah, I think we probably did like maybe 4 takes of that whole thing. So
wow.
not many at all. So she's a genius.
That made me laugh out loud. I was like, this is pure comedy to me. Now, it was so funny. Um, I know it took 6 years to get it made. And I know eventually you partnering up with Steven Soderbergh was the thing that kind of kicked it over. Why did it take 6 years?
Well, I think one, the pandemic happened, and so that we
Um,
were supposed to go just before the pandemic, and then that all slowed us down. And then we had a number of other stops and starts. We had at one point we had a financier, and then that person ended up, my camera is moving around like crazy.
I know. I
Um,
was like, where's your head going?
no, I didn't even move, but it's like jumping around. Anyway, so it took us a while to get it financed, and then we did like some work on the script, and so that took time. And then we had cast, and then that cast got big movies, and then they had scheduling conflicts. So it was just all of those things that kind of kept it going back and forth, back and forth. But all along, I felt like, man, this is something I want to make. This is the kind of part that I want to have a chance to play. And if we don't see it through and find a way to get it done, I don't know that I'm going to get a chance to play this kind of part, like a romantic lead. And so, and I wanted to work with my friends. Nicole Bahari and I have been friends forever. DeWanda and I too. We all came up doing theater, together in New York. And I wanted to work with my people. And to me, it was worth it to keep fighting to get it done for the chance to do that.
I love DeWanda. That's my girl. We always say when we see each other, she's like, we can. She said, I know we can somewhere. I know we related somewhere down the line, but that's my girl. I was happy to see both of those ladies. I love both of them very much. Speaking of you being a romantic lead, I really loved the playfulness that you and Nicole had. Y'all had like insane chemistry. And there's this one scene where y'all are doing this thing like this.
Oh yeah,
It
yeah,
reminded me so much of this. One of my favorite films is this film with Meg Ryan and Billy Crystal called When Harry Met Sally. And
yeah.
that reminds me so much of the scene of them in the museum playing around.
Hmm.
I know that you all are friends, but I know that a lot of the scenes in When Harry Met Sally were improv, but was that scene with y'all improv as well?
A lot of it was. I mean, we kind of had the beginning of the scene was written in terms of like, okay, they're in the museum and they're having a good time. So the like shape of the scene was there. But then, yeah, Nicole and I just naturally have a lot of just chemistry as friends. Like we have a lot of playful banter. We get along really well, and so yeah, really, most of what you see on there is a lot of us improvising. We'll do what's in the script and then kind of keep going, sort of thing. And yeah,
Okay.
I'm glad you
Okay.
appreciate that. Yeah.
Okay. I see you. Um, and last but not least, I wanted to ask to bring it back around to Love Brooklyn. After shooting this, what did you discover that you really loved about Brooklyn?
Mm. You know what I love? I love the community. And I think that sometimes it can feel like there isn't community anymore because of the way the neighborhood has been. I'm talking about Bed-Stuy in particular, the way, and and other neighborhoods have been gentrified to the point where sometimes you look around, it's like, man, where the people at? But every now and again, I was reminded that everybody actually is, folks still are here. For example, when we were trying to find locations to shoot, we couldn't afford to shoot in the, fancy restaurants or the fancy cafes, but reached out to the community and said, hey, look, we're looking for a place. We need a coffee shop. Is anybody open to it? Boom, we had a coffee shop in the same day. My homegirl Kai let us shoot. We need a
Mm.
restaurant. Boom, we can shoot over here. We need a backyard. Hey, man, I got a backyard. It was like that, like that old school community coming together. And then this past weekend, I threw a little get together at my house, kind of in celebration of Love Brooklyn and to say thank you to some of the people who helped support us. And when I tell you, Carla, that like I invited like 25 people, I had like 175 people in my house, and we had a ball, like just an old school backyard Brooklyn cookout hang. It was so, so cool. And that reminded me of like the beauty of the community of this neighborhood. And I'll never want to lose that.
Oh, wow. I love that you did that. That is so gracious and cool. And I'm sorry that we didn't meet before because I'm like, where my invitation at?
But listen, we're gonna do
I
another one.
need an invitation to the cookout.
You're gonna be we're gonna do another one. Come out. You be ready.
Like, where my invitation to the cookout?
Oh, we got you next time.
Oh, cool. Well, that's it for me, Andre. Thank you so much for giving me your time today. I really appreciate you.
Of course. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for your support.
No problem at all. I'll see you next time.
All right. See you then.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Hold up. Wait a minute. I wish you love, peace, and hair grease.
Love, peace, and hair grease, y'all.